Yom Kippur.
Hey, welcome to another show of Detroit in Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo. Allan Lengel from Deadline Detroit. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Vanessa Moss, attorney and political consultant. Vanessa Moss, how you doing, Vanessa?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Well, you know, another show, another day, another dollar. Let's get right to the point. Today, we're going to have a couple guests. Three. Charlie LeDuff, former Detroit News, TV2, Fox. Now he's
New York Times.
Yeah, Pulitzer Prize winner. He's got his own podcast. What?
The No BS News Hour.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, I've been seeing Charlie on Tucker Carlson show at times.
Right.
And Chef Max Hardy. If you ever watch some of the food channels, and if you ever go around the city, he left his footprint, restaurant foods. Listen, the guy got it going on, and we want to talk about his latest adventures. And then we got Richard Ryles, attorney from Florida. The NAACP in Florida is calling for a boycott of Florida. About time. The only thing that Ron DeSantis and his minions gonna understand is when you start taking money out of their pocket. So let's get started. Vanessa.
Yes, we're gonna add. You know what? Before I do my outrage, we're gonna ask that you guys subscribe, hit like, and notification. Subscribe, like, and notification on the YouTube page. So
and Facebook.
Oh, and Facebook.
And Twitter.
And Twitter. And what else?
Detroit in Black and White for right now. And we have an Instagram page as well.
Right. So, and we're live on Facebook.
And YouTube. And Twitter.
Man, what about MySpace?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
It's your space now.
I had a lot of outrages, but I'm going to do one. My outrage has to do with the district attorney in Manhattan, Attorney Braggs. I am pissed off that the former president decided that he was going to tell people, he told people to protest, right? Because they're going to indict me, right? And because of that, they had to stop the grand jury from convening, right? To make a decision as to what they're going to do. And in addition to that, the GOP decides that they're going to question him about his job that he was elected to do, right? They're going to interfere. And on top of that, the man has received threats and something in the mail with white powder. I am pissed off. I'm pissed off because guess what? Not only is he a brother, he is an elected official. He took an oath to do his job, and this man is just trying to do his job. And you got this idiot, Trump, calling for protest, calling his dogs out to bring harm to this man and to prevent him from doing his job.
Well, he called him an animal too.
I'm like, you're talking about outrage. I am outraged.
Okay.
I'll piggyback real quick and then go on to one to say Jim Jordan, who's the head of now the judiciary, who is just a nut, is now trying to interfere. Here the Republicans are always about state rights, independence, and here it is.
Law and order.
They are now trying to interfere and trying to derail
Obstruct.
A local prosecution, an investigation that hasn't even gotten to the point of an indictment, let alone the federal government has no business intervening like that. Jim Jordan is trying to intimidate the district attorney.
Absolutely.
And also, as you say, rile up people where people are getting angry. And you know, this whole thing where Trump is like, you know, it's basically the black people are coming after me, the black district attorney, the black attorney general in New York, the Fulton County, the black Fulton County prosecutor. And it's like the black people are coming after me. And the white people are supposed to be, oh my God, we can't let that happen. What? That just doesn't, it's not
unfortunately,
fair.
you have people who are saying, oh my God, this can't happen.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm waiting on them to indict him. And I won't believe it till I see it. It seems like some of these people are scared to deal with this asshole. But this is what we got. Those prosecutors, district attorneys, is his worst nightmare. And listen, Trump judges that he appointed is telling him you can't get around these investigations. You're gonna have to go before these folks gonna have to go before a grand jury, and I'm just waiting for the shoe to fall.
But if you clean, what you got to worry about? What you worried about?
Well, he ain't clean.
Well, we know he's not clean.
They're trying everything. They're trying to block Mike Pence from testifying in there. Which Mike Pence, there may be some limited areas, but there's criminal activity that's going on here. Mike Pence is obligated to go before the grand jury, and he can't take the fifth because he's not implicated. And what will happen to a guy like Mike Pence? They'll give him immunity, say whatever you say will not count against you. And if you ignore that and you say you still take the fifth, you go to prison. You go to jail until you decide that you are going to testify.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Let's move
so my other one is State Senator in Minnesota, Steve Drazkowski, who voted against the lunch program in the state of Minnesota. And here I'll read you real quick 2 quotes from him. He says, I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that is hungry yet today. I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that says they don't have access to enough food to eat. And he says, now I should say that hunger is a relative term. I had a cereal bar for breakfast. I guess I'm hungry now. That too, maybe that's the definition of the bill. You know what? It just goes to the heart of a party that has such a hard time empathizing and understanding anyone who is not white and privileged. I mean, that's the message saying, I don't know anyone who's not hungry. It's like, well, maybe your little group is not hungry, but there's a lot of people in Minnesota and across the country who go hungry. It's disgraceful that the messages, I mean, we're seeing from the Republican Party, here, Christina Caramo, who's just, the insensitivity that goes on where she compared the Holocaust with the guns and all that. And she has a rabbi at a press conference say to her, hey, we're offended by this. And she says, well, don't tell me that it's like, I can't tell you and say, it's like Ben Stein says, I want the Aunt Jemima thing on. It's like, well, some people are offended by that. And you're a Jewish guy telling a black person, don't be offended by the Aunt Jemima.
Say, hey, this has been a problem with the party. We are allowed people to muzzle us. We need to be, that was the old party. This is the new party. And I don't, she also said something about people misinterpreting what she said. You said what you said, lady.
Well, you just talked about.
You said what you said.
2 of the 3 Stooges. My outrage is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my gosh!
They went to jail in D.C.
Right.
They treated the insurrectionists like rock stars, saying that it wasn't an insurrection. They mistreat them. Oh, police brutality, and they feeling so sad. And 2 Democratic Congress people that was with them said it's bullshit. Said and they hugging and kissing on these folks, the Proud Boys and everything else.
Right.
Man, these folks supposed to be locked up.
See the difference? Here it is. They're in the jail and they give a shit about them when they attack cops and beat on cops. If you're a black person, you'd be dead doing that. And yet here they are. First when I heard she was going to jail, I'm like, oh my God, she cares about prison rights? Like, what's going on here?
She don't give a darn about prison rights.
They needed to lock her up.
She don't give a darn about prison rights. Let's be clear. She gives a darn about her agenda.
And
her agenda is as white as that piece of paper that you have in your hand, and it's as white as this sweater that I have on.
Well, and the honorable mention for outrage has to go to Trump again. He gets an outrage and an honorable mention. He go to Waco. He goes to Waco to have a rally. And what's the symbolic gesture of that? That was where the FBI.
Oh, yeah.
So that's I'm gonna tell you, we are at a place now that if the Democratic Party and those folks that are under attack, and when they say woke, they mean black.
They don't even know what, but this is the thing.
They can have the word.
They don't even know what woke means.
They can
If you ask
one
person says one thing, another person says another thing. They don't even know what woke means.
Well, they can have the word woke. They can have the word woke. They can take it and they can use it. It's just like, there was a time when you said gay was a term that said I'm happy and gay, and now if you're happy and gay, that means you're a homosexual or lesbian or whatever. So the words can change. Ghetto is another word. That ghetto was a term where folks was trapped into an area. We got same group of people, regardless of their financial status, couldn't move. Now it's a term of how you act.
Right.
But look,
or how you act, how you dress, how you talk.
Now, if you talk
the
to
Confederate flag,
yes.
Look, it finally became U.S. became intolerant of that just more recently. But I'll tell you, at the Detroit Athletic Club, in the dining room, there are little tiles.
Oh, yeah.
If you go in there, and there's swastikas down there.
Absolutely.
And I wrote a column for Deadline Detroit, and I called. They wouldn't respond on the record. And what had happened in 1915? Albert Kahn, who's Jewish, built the DAC. He got a German guy from New Jersey, a ceramicist, who put the tiles, and that was 1915. It wasn't until 1920 that the Nazis co-opted that as their symbol. And so they were like, I'd say, well, look, I'm offended. My parents are Holocaust survivors. I'm sitting here in the DAC, I'm looking, and there's the swastika. It's like you going somewhere and saying like the N-word. It's like, anybody sees
That's
the N-word.
That's another word that has it. Well, it depends on who say it.
Yeah, right.
It depends on who say it.
But I'm
you
saying,
can't
if
say
you see it, right? If you see it spray painted somewhere or something, it's. Anyone who sees it is offended. But particularly if you're black, you're offended.
Absolutely.
So I wrote them, and they're like, "Well, it's part of the history. It's like a good luck symbol in a good luck symbol in Indian culture." And I wrote in the column, I said, well, it wasn't such good luck for the Jews.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
I'm going to start something.
Go ahead.
What are they supposed to do? They supposed to just remove the
redo it? Tiles.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
You're supposed to remove it. In 1980, I moved.
So we're gonna remove tiles. We're gonna remove statues.
Right.
We're gonna remove flags. We're gonna remove people out of history books. We left Rosa Parks out of history books.
In South Carolina.
What?
I was just in. No, let's go back. I was in Frederick, Maryland, 1980, and we're going up against the break. There, I covered courts, and then in the front of the courthouse was a statue of Roger B. Taney from the Supreme Court. They got his grave there, his house. I'm looking at that. I said they need to tear the statue down. I wrote about it. I got death threats and everything else. So you know what? Now the statue gone. It took them 40 years to get rid of the statue. We're gonna take a break. We're coming up to
all right.
Yeah,
yep.
let's take a break, and then we'll be right back.
Homeownership opportunities are rising in the city of Detroit, and there's a house out there that's right for you and your family. You don't even have to worry about credit or getting a loan. You can win a house for as little as $1,000 and pay for the renovation cost as you go. It all starts at buildingdetroit.org and the Detroit Land Bank Authority. Our auction and Own It Now programs offer a variety of houses in neighborhoods all over the city of Detroit. These homes are in desperate need of repair and new ownership. You can begin by going to our interactive map and detailed property listings to find the right fit for you. It won't be easy, and renovation costs are not cheap, but our compliance team is there every step of the way. We will help you track your progress and connect you with local discounts to save you more money. We have already sold more than 15,000 homes in the city of Detroit, and our inventory is shrinking fast, so you don't want to miss out on this wonderful opportunity. Start your home buying journey today by visiting buildingdetroit.org.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. There are payment plans available to help save your property. Visit our website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for further information. We're here to help.
We're back.
Well, we're back.
And don't forget to like, share, notify Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Let's do it. Let's get it. Like and subscribe.
I was going to say, in South Carolina, they finally removed the Confederate flag. I mean, look, when we here in Michigan, particularly Detroit or metro area or whatever, see a Confederate flag, it's like I look in and go, "Oh my God, there's a racist." I don't. Wait a minute.
There was a guy on the west side. There was a guy on the west side of Detroit, black man,
wearing the Confederate flag.
Had the Confederate flag on his house.
Well,
sitting on his front porch.
Well, some people are trying to be provocative, or self-loathing. Yeah, but it's like, look, I look at that and I see some person with a pickup truck, driving downriver or something, and he's got the Confederate flag on. I say two things. I say that person doesn't like blacks, and he probably doesn't like Jews either.
Listen, when I was in the 7th grade, it was 4 of us walking home from junior high school, played baseball. And we went right through this little area with a lot of factories at an old park. Right. And as there was a car had George Wallace for president in 1968. We tore the bumper sticker off, and one of the guys took a brick and it hit the windshield. We was gone. We made it home back into the township because we know if the old park police would have had us, we'd have been in juvenile.
So,
or those little statues. My older brother used to, the black jockeys. They used to go in the people's yards and they remove the heads. I'm just telling you.
I had an experience where I have a friend, a very dear friend of mine, lives in Atlanta, and I mean, her next door neighbor had a Confederate flag. 3 doors down, a Confederate flag, around the corner, Confederate flag. And I asked her, how the hell can you live here? How can you, because they don't like you here. There's a reason why that lady keeps opening her door and letting the dog come out and nip at your heels every time you leave out. How can you live here? But the good thing about it, I mean, for me, I'd rather know who I'm dealing with as opposed to not knowing who I'm dealing with.
Right. For sure.
So, as you say, this is what we're dealing with. It is what it is.
Ain't no question. We supposed to have Charlie come on at 10:15, and obviously we don't have Charlie.
Why don't we play the Kwame video, and we can talk about Kwame's changing life or not changing life. So Joe, you want to cue that up? We got a little
70 years old. He's standing in the chapel and say, "Hey, your name's Kwame, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, I want to talk to you about the Lord Jesus Christ. And I was like, this is stuff I would have never talked to. Yeah. Man, I ain't got time for that. Blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. Yeah, okay. All right. We sat down on the bench. I'm in there crying, got on my knees and received Christ right then. I give him credit because he wouldn't let me go. But he saw that I had been broken enough to receive. And so in that moment, I learned something that a week before I wouldn't have sat down with him. Yeah. That you got to come to the end. There are some of us men and now women that have to come to the end of themselves to be able to even hear a message of redemption, a message of that you need to apologize. Some of us are so proud, and we gotta let it go. And lastly, I know in this city that's a big thing too. Everything's somebody else's fault. In this town,
That's true.
Boy, it's white people. It's the people downtown.
Yeah.
It's this. Come on now. Some things that happen in your city, in any city, in your household, in your community, in your family, they're your fault.
Yeah.
It was you, and we got to learn how to look in the mirror and say that was me.
Right.
Okay, got Parkinson's disease.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So I guess the question is, Adolph, you had I've gotten to know Kwame since he got out of prison. We've had conversation. We've written stories about him. Adolph,
I was there in the bunker with him.
you were in the bunker.
We share
and
friends,
you-
and we were in law school at the same time.
Oh, really?
So we had
Okay.
friends.
Yeah, I
and all
was
of that,
in the
so-
bunker
Yeah.
when when people said, "Oh man, you parachuted on the deck of the Titanic because it's going down," and I said, "Yeah, I know what I'm doing because I got an escape route." Smart, intelligent, got charisma. He just got bailed out of any and everything that he get in trouble. His parents got him out of trouble. And when he got punched, the first time he got punched, he ended up in jail. So I'm gonna tell you, Kwame was a privileged young man who was tapped to go on to greater things. He was Obama before Obama was on the scene, and then he played Obama. It was like.
But he says that Obama played him.
No,
and the Democratic Party played him.
He played Obama. They was everybody had a game plan.
Right.
But the bottom line is he didn't read Coleman Young's book. That means you don't go and testify in court. You keep your mouth shut, and you continue to govern the city. The Navigator. They made Navigator story should have been a one-day story. He made it 6 months to a year.
He made it. How did he make it?
Because
it was the media that was after him.
Well, but
it wasn't his fault.
Well,
listen, I'm sitting right there.
It was not his fault. The media,
that's bullshit.
The lynch
That's
mob.
bullshit.
The lynch mob was after him.
Yeah.
Did you have something to do with that?
Yeah,
The lynch mob was after him.
Listen.
That wasn't his fault.
Yes,
the
it was.
media
But
the media went after that black man.
Can you let this black man talk? Can you let this black man talk? Because the bullshit coming out of your mouth is you don't know. You don't know. The bottom line is that when you got the police chief saying that the Navigator is an undercover car, and then you got another director of the department say they using the Navigator, and I say, Kwame, the Navigator is, you got 3 kids, you got a wife, that's your Navigator. You got it from Bob Maxey. You don't owe them no excuses. When Coleman Young got a limo from General Motors, the media came at him. He said, "Y'all want me to drive a Pinto? If I did, you'll dog me out for being in a Pinto." So no, you just say what you got and you move on. You can't aspire with that.
I agree with Adolph. Look, you have to play the media. You have to figure out the best way. You get it all out there. I've seen so many times where people try to hide stuff. It's like Whitmer with her airplane flying down to Florida. I mean, Charlie for Deadline Detroit had a field day with it because she kept changing her story, and it was all BS until she finally had to come out with the real story. You turn one, as Adolph says, you take one story, you put it all out on the table, and
you know what, she was scared because she used Matty Maroon jet. Yeah. And that's why they didn't want to tell her nothing. She should have said, "Okay, my father's sick. I went down there, and look, if I got to reimburse somebody."
Yeah, we talked about that. Transparency is very important.
Yes.
But what you play this video for? Why are we doing this?
Because
I was gonna say that
because he is now one of the feature speakers. He's one of the feature speakers with these white supremacists.
Well, listen.
Yes.
The conservative policy. He's speaking this week in the conservative policy conference, which is interesting. As Joe pointed out, he's the only black speaker, if I'm correct, and it's a conservative thing. And now and the question is going to be: is he beholden to Trump? Because Trump did him a big
He did him
favor.
a solid. He did him a solid.
As big a solid as you can
and guess what? He's a minister, right? And so he's playing to the conservative base.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it is
that's
what
like
it is.
drinking poison.
And so,
You drinking some poison. This motherfucker drinking some poison.
ooh, you used the MF word.
He drinking some poison. He said he wasn't a real Democrat now, and that if he had to run, he gonna run as what is he gonna run as?
But you know what? Those conservative people, those people that are in the
we got Charlie.
those people that's in the
and
church,
we're gonna play a little.
they are going to
bring him on,
support
and
him.
we're gonna.
Trust me.
I'm sorry.
I said those people in the church, they're going to support him. Trust
We'll
me.
see.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that
let's-
The
is
wine is
going
going
to
to
happen.
support him.
That is going to happen. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to bring Charlie on, and then we also have a little intro from Charlie's show, the No BS News Hour. You want to bring him on, and we'll play that? Say hello.
No bullshit! This is just it, breaking news. Double or bullshit. Double or bullshit.
All right. Let's bring Charlie on. The man of the hour.
Why are you trying to look sophisticated, man?
Man, fuck you, man.
Look, don't be using profanity on our show.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Good
If
morning.
you don't like profanity, I would recommend you quit podcasting because they're gonna go nowhere.
We're pro profanity.
How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good, man.
I'm all right.
I had to download. I got bronchitis, but I had to download Safari to get on here. You know that?
Okay. Usually Google Chrome is the best.
I did
For
that,
that.
and it kicked me. But okay, well, we're being
Oh,
old
really?
men about it. But you were talking
You know
about
why they
Whitmer?
kicked you?
Huh?
You know why they
Because they
kicked
don't
you?
want to hear his bullshit.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear his bullshit.
But
That's
anyway,
why.
let's get to the point. Let's get right straight to the point.
Yeah.
I was watching your new boyfriend Tucker Carlson, and he was talking about that Al Sharpton and
Tawana,
we got it. Hey, Joe,
yeah,
you
run
wanna
that.
play that? We'll play it real quick.
We do know that Trump is the subject of a grand jury investigation in Manhattan. That's a city that voted against Donald Trump by almost 80% in the last presidential election. We also know that the grand jury was impaneled by a Soros-funded DA called Alvin Bragg, who looks and acts like a Tawana Brawley-era Al Sharpton.
I say that's a racist statement, man.
I didn't hear any of it. What did he say?
He said that the DA and
Alvin Bragg.
Alvin Bragg looked like a
And
Al
that.
Sharpton when he was wearing a super fly haircut.
Tawana Brawley, Al Sharpton. That is era. And so in essence, your guy, it came across as very racist to me. And my question is, you guys are friends, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you represent Detroit very well. I mean, which is a predominantly Black city. How does that resonate with you, with this guy who sits on the show? Because I can't have no racist friends. I'm be very honest with you.
What is this
How
shit?
can you?
What are you
How
talking
can you?
about?
How do
It is
you
stupid.
reconcile
I don't.
having this kind of
I don't
relationship
play
with a
baby. I
guy?
didn't even hear the fucking clip. I don't
Oh,
like
you want
it.
us to run it again so
I
you
don't
can hear
like
it?
what you're doing, madam. I don't know you, right? I know the man. I don't know what he said, so you should get your show proper first before you sit here.
Oh,
and you're
now
gonna-
you gonna?
Let me
Oh, wait
finish,
a minute.
madam.
We're not
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
this, sir.
Hold on.
We're
You
not
brought
gonna do
me on
this,
here to
sir.
set me up.
You
ready for
came on the
this?
show. I want to
Bullshit.
ask you a
You
question.
asked.
I want to ask
So
you a
let-
question.
Please. First of all,
if you don't want to answer it, that's fine.
Yak. Let me answer it. First of all, get your show together so I can actually hear what you're going to accuse me some other guy did. Okay? Do I know him? Yeah. Adolph's my friend. People say he says racist things. I'm not going to defend shit like that. You asked me about me, and that's what you can do. Okay? Beautiful. Next question.
All right, Charlie.
That's ridiculous. That's why you're having me on.
Charlie. So here,
come on,
Charlie. We've got some other. We
got some other questions, Charlie.
That's your friend.
Charlie.
That's
got
nasty.
Charlie. So we have a question. Before you came on, we played a clip of.
That doesn't bother me.
We played a clip of Kwame Kilpatrick. And Kwame is saying, he's accepted Jesus and that people have to take responsibility. You being a journalist who covered the city, do you buy that Kwame is a changed man, or do you think it's real, or do you think it's not real?
Again,
feelings about that?
I don't even worry about it. That's up to him and God, right? Do I forgive him as soon as he admits that what he did? Did he serve his time? Yes. Is it time to move on? Yes. I don't even peddle in this crap. There's so much going on. We're going broke. Crime's through the roof. The rich man's eating us alive. And you want me to do Tucker Carlson doing Al Sharpton jokes, or do I think Kwame's actually saved? I can't do it. Listen, I'm dying on the vine here. Look at what's going on in our country. Black and white.
So crime. Okay, let's talk about the police chief. Let's talk about the police department. Let's talk about Mayor Duggan. What are they doing enough, or what should they be doing about crime?
I heard last night. I'm going to run it down. I heard maybe the chief and the assistant chief are going to leave and start a foundation or something like that. Some kind of entity where they give people advice, law enforcement, whatever this crap is. That's what I hear. There's disarray in there. Murders up and they're hiding it again, Allan. There's 37 murders last year. They didn't even count. Detroit's revenue, all this billionaire money. Take a look at the revenue since bankruptcy and multiply inflation. Revenue has done this. Property taxes are down. Income taxes are down. We don't have money. We're giving it away. We don't have police. My wife works in the schools. These things are falling apart. They're lying. They're lying. Whitmer's giving $20 million to her friends. The former Speaker of the House, he was drinking champagne and flying around on jets. And I can't do this. I don't know what to do. Oh, by the way, I got another friend I go on a show a lot. It's Chris Cuomo. Maybe he's acceptable because he's on the left. But I'm not going to push people away. So we're in camps. I want to be the guy talking to people.
Let me ask you, Charlie, what about the $800 million being requested for the District of Detroit?
Horseshit.
Yeah, what do you see? What's going on there?
Huh?
Well,
what's going?
Well, it's $900 million. It's 900. Remember, the state legislature gave that project, the District Innovation Center, 100 cash, 100 million cash. So it's 900 million. Where's the promises? Show me the revenue stream. Show me the tax capture. What's the current tax capture? How do you police it? How do you fire it? How do you EMS it?
And why you think they still giving them money? They got an ATM card. These motherfuckers got an ATM card. You got a church that's taking 20 years to build, and they're not doing anything with it. Now, the question I want to ask you, Charlie, you said Alyssa Slocker is running for the Senate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you like her too much.
She's not getting my vote.
Why shouldn't a person vote for her?
Oh, well, let's see. Let's look at her record. Let's just start. That's Baghdad Betty. This woman claims
Baghdad Betty.
Baghdad Betty. She claimed, okay, her career, you laughing, Here's who she is. You work for the CIA. You were a specialist in Iraq. I was there when she was there. All right. So you gave us an illegal invasion. She worked National Security Council.
She was along the totem pole, wasn't she? She wasn't running shit.
No, watch this here now. Does her 3 tours. You're in Iraq. We've got Abu Ghraib. We've got an illegal invasion. We've got dark prisons. We've got Guantanamo. We've got ISIS. We've got the surge. Because Washington's full of political hacks, they tried to make her Assistant Secretary of Defense. John McCain said, Madam, you're not coming to a vote because we've gotten better intelligence from the New York Times than we've gotten from you as the chief aide on the National Security Council for Iraq. So, 1, warmonger, illegal, death to every 100,000 Iraqis dead, 4,600 American troops. I could go on. Then, when you get to Congress, you never lived in Michigan, by the way. You never lived in Michigan. You went to Cranbrook, then you went to the Ivy League, then you moved to New York, then you moved to Washington, D.C.
Is that a bad thing? That ain't a bad thing.
Well, if you want to be the senator of Michigan, you should know Michigan.
Hillary didn't live in New York.
So Charlie, let me ask you, who would be your person?
Let's just let it work out. Let me finish this. Now, when you go to Congress, would you vote for Inflation Reduction Act, which is a euphemism? It doesn't. The American Recovery Act, it blew the lid off the dollar. Every spending bill, we are in a hyperinflationary period. Alan, we worked together a long time. You know, I kept warning people about the debt. You can't print money. So this kind of bullshit establishment has to go. When you can walk the streets of this city, then you let me know and you give my vote. No way.
Charlie, let me play a little bit of a devil's advocate here. I know you Alyssa Slotkin, because she's part of the CIA, should take some responsibility, although really when you break it down granularly, she may not be the one who's creating policy and all that. But let me just say, the New York Times with Judith Miller, is some people blame Judith Miller in the New York Times for pushing the war. Judith Miller, there was a guy, Chalabi, from Iraq, who was duping American intelligence into saying, yes, there is nuclear weapons here, so that the U.S. would finally put up and come in there. The New York Times, Judith Miller was really chastised. I was sitting next at a going away party for a FBI agent, an FBI official in D.C. I was sitting next to one of the New York Times reporters who was so angry at Judith Miller for what she had done during the war. And so does the whole New York Times take blame, or should Judith Miller? I guess I'm trying to see if there's some comparison there where Alyssa.
No, there's no comparison. You just tapped it around for a show. Judith Miller, first of all, the New York Times apologized for Judith Miller. They wrote a fucking retraction on the whole thing, a mea culpa. You are sitting, look up Judith Miller. I mean, Alyssa Slotkin. You don't even know who she is. Look up her record. You know who she was? The chief of staff for the National Security Council on Iraq. That's when she leaves the green zone, comes home, and ISIS explodes. She has no idea. So to talk, John McCain, to finish the quote, said, we learned more from the New York Times and the Washington Post, if that's helpful to you. So Judith Miller's not running for my senator. Alyssa Slotkin is a creature of the machine.
Which machine? CIA?
The Republican-Democratic, big money, rip us off, sound bites, go back, divide it up while we die out here machine.
But isn't that all part of it? You look at the Republican Party and you got insane motherfuckers running the party.
Yep.
Yeah. The chair of the party, is she's certifiable.
Look, I'll tell you what, I never threatened to kill my kids. And you know what? The election was not stolen. It was not stolen. So get over it. Let's move on and stop tearing this country down for political gain.
All right, let
me ask you this question. So what is the answer, Charlie? Because it sounds like you're disillusioned with both parties. So what's the answer?
Let's just elect some people that'll do our business. I believe there's nothing wrong with the system. I believe it's a fine system. I'm not for tearing shit down. I believe the culture of politics and the culture of people is selfish and corrupt. And if we actually look to somebody not to gain for themselves, somebody that has some kind of knowledge, a little knowledge about the way we live, about police work, about money, about foreign affairs, then about the border, about education, not everything, but just somebody who's not selfish and hooking each other up. I know we can do that.
Let me ask a question about the media, and I know you have some strong opinions about the media. And just to backtrack a drop, in 2003, I was at the Washington Post. I was at a party. My neighbor was throwing. She invited the whole Israeli embassy over there. It was right before the U.S. invaded Iraq. I was talking to a guy who was a lawyer, Israeli lawyer, whose wife was in the embassy. He was not. And I said to him, what do you think about, U.S. going into Iraq? And he said, we're not worried about Iraq. He goes, we don't think they have nuclear capability. He goes, secular nation. He goes, we're worried about Iran. Religious zealots. We think they have nuclear capability. I went the next morning to the foreign desk at the Washington Post and conveyed that conversation I had. The coverage didn't change. The New York Times coverage didn't really change at the time. And I know there has been some great reporting by both papers at the same time, but what's the state of the media that you see? What's going on with the media and what's?
Well, wait, we were just going back to like the pre-Iraq invasion. What do you want me to talk about? That was a big one.
Talk about the media today. What do you think about the media?
Let's backtrack because you got me flat-footed with that. So it was the night before the invasion. There was a party, right?
No, this was like a couple of months before the invasion. There
was a party. The Israeli embassy was invited to it. Who was throwing the party?
It was a friend of mine, Aviva Kempner. She's a filmmaker. She's from Detroit, but she lives in
the media. I would expect Viva to be working for the New York Times because that's what the media does now. They drink with these people. They're so.
She's not in the media.
I know.
She's not in the media.
But I'm trying to transition for you here, brother.
Sure.
Make a good show.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
The reporters drink in public with the public. Journalists drink in private with the public officials. And that's the problem. They all think they're the same clique. The reporters, the journalists don't realize that you are a lapdog at the foot of the table waiting for crumbs to come down. But since they stroking you in their lap, you think you belong to the family. And the media has gone sideways because they won't honestly report to the people and present it to the people in a way in which they can understand. Everybody knows it.
They've been doing that a long time, Charlie. That's why Lyndon Johnson got away with declaring war in Vietnam, saying that U.S. was attacked and they wasn't. But anyway, I want to thank you for coming on.
You got it. I promise you. You said bring it. I said I would.
Yeah, no question.
We got to have you back, Charlie. You got a lot of, obviously we have interesting conversations. Oh, real quick, tell us a little bit about your podcast. What's going on with the No BS News Hour? What are you doing?
It's on Monday. There's the No BS Lunch Hour. It's Mondays live at noon and one on Thursdays at 6. You can get it everywhere, and it's top 200 in the country now.
And you are broadcasting from the American Coney Island, is that correct?
We're going to be one.
Yeah.
Oh, right. He's going to talk about us on his show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, come on. Oh, and let me just say, none of that, it should be taken personally. That's also a fact.
It's not taken personally. It's not.
You know
It's
what?
not. It's not at all.
Okay.
I'm not bothered at all.
You know I
Then the guy's fucking poor
You know I
jokes.
call you Junior now, man.
Yeah, but you know what, Adolph? I mean, man, people say shit about me, you. Like, I can't make excuses for what a human being does, but I don't want to put. I even carpooled with the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. He's not my friend, but I'll have lunch. I'll carpool with you.
You might have your car blown up.
Right.
You should look that one up. It was funny. It was.
Well, anyway, thank you, Charlie LeDuff, for the No Bullshit Hour. We're going to take a break.
Mondays and Thursdays, No BS News Hour.
Okay.
Charlie LeDuff. Thanks so much.
I'm Wayne.
Share.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. There are payment plans available to help save your property. Visit our website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for further information.
Nearly 30,000 vacant lots all over the city of Detroit are for sale right now. That's right, nearly 30,000 vacant lots are available now, starting at just $100. The lot next to your house or the lot down the street. Make it yours today in just a few simple clicks. Find out if it is available by visiting buildingdetroit.org. At the Detroit Land Bank Authority, side lots are just $100 and neighborhood lots sell for $250. You can apply and pay online today by visiting buildingdetroit.org. And if you don't see the lot you're looking for, call our offices. Our phone number is 313-974-6869. Again, that is 313-974-6869. We have already sold more than 21,000 vacant lots to Detroit homeowners. Make today your turn by visiting buildingdetroit.org.
So how do you want to be?
All right, we're back. We're back on.
Max, easy.
Max.
We're back on. So, a little introduction. Explain.
We can see you, Al.
Why don't you tell us a little bit
Move
about
over a little bit.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Maxcel Hardy, known as Chef Max, I guess. Personal chef and restaurateur, author, philanthropist, and so born and raised in Detroit. I left when I was 13, moved to Tampa, and mom moved to Tampa from Detroit, and so went down there in high school down there. Played basketball, thought I'd make it to the NBA like any other inner city kid.
Oh, no.
Realized that wasn't going to be it, so I better, change the focus a little bit. So I started cooking in high school, and
why cooking?
Well, I got hurt my junior year, and I broke my collarbone. So during that time, I couldn't play, and so I took up home ec, and then home ec changed to culinary arts. We had a chef come in, and just became world class culinary program in high school.
Okay.
Got a scholarship to go to Johnson & Wales to play basketball and cook. So moved down to Miami and did that.
You went to the campus in Miami.
Yeah, Miami campus. Yep. And again, just I was realized basketball wasn't going to be the out, so I better get it together. So started honing my skills, working in different restaurants and hotels in Miami. Was executive chef of Hard Rock Casino for a while. Opened up Aventura Country Club.
Wow.
Yeah. So then
impressive.
Yeah. And then I got fired from Aventura Country Club. They told me wear a chef toque, and I was like, I'm not wearing a chef toque. I'm too tall, right? And so I would walk to the kitchen, and it would knock off. So they fired me for that. And so I started Chef Max Miami, which was and still is a catering company where we cater to a bunch of celebrities and athletes.
Okay.
So you've cooked for some of your customers.
Absolutely.
Were basketball players. Tell us some of the players that you've cooked for.
Yeah, so I mean, when it first started, anybody that came to Miami, I was partnered with a company called Carefree Lifestyles, and so anytime you came to Miami, you wanted a house, you wanted cars, you wanted the yacht, they'll call me and cook for you for the weekend. So that's kind of how it started. So I mean, you name them, I pretty much touched them and cooked for them.
What were you cooking? What type of stuff?
A little bit of everything, man. It was guys come in town. Hey, I want dinner tonight, and so it could be a 5-star dinner, 5 courses, or it could be as little as chicken and waffles, and so it kind of all the rappers.
What was some of the strange requests?
But I wanted to ask you: are you still based in Miami?
I'm based here, but I still go New York, Miami, LA.
Okay.
Bahamas. I still kind of make that commute.
Okay.
So what has been some strange requests?
Probably the strangest request to fly me to LA after a game to make chicken and waffles at 2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
It was like, hey chef, like game is over at 11. I was in New York, and I'm like, so you want me to fly from New York to LA just to make chicken and waffles, right?
Wow.
So I got to LA, I had to buy waffle irons, and and
fly commercially or.
Yeah. I flew back private with them, but flying up, commercial. But yeah, so that's one of the strange. Oh no, actually, no, it's not the strangest request. The Prince of Dubai, he was in Miami. He rented out the old Scarface house, and they had this royal table. Right, it's Halloween night, and I get a call like, "Hey chef, we want sushi, but we wanted to put it on a naked lady."
Oh.
And so I had to find a lady naked. Sushi on her.
Oh wow!
A real naked lady?
Oh yeah, no, she was naked. Yeah.
How long did she have to lay there on the table?
About 3 hours.
And,
wait a minute. So wait a minute. She laid on the table and you
just
prepared
like you lay on this table right now, and I put sushi on you right now.
Wow!
wow.
And they
did
ate.
she get paid well for that?
I think it was like $500-$600 or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but yeah, no. I mean, so that's probably the strangest.
Wow.
So did you have to find her?
I had to find her. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But I mean, in Miami, that's
yeah,
that's
absolutely
it.
right.
Yeah, that's fine. You just call a concierge
Right.
company, and then they on their way.
Wow.
I was in a hotel room, and I was watching.
That's crazy.
I was watching the Food Channel with my wife, and he was on it, and I kept looking, and I said, I ain't seen him somewhere. I seen him somewhere. And when they said where he's from, I said,
Right.
I said he the quiet one.
Yeah.
He don't bother anybody. I didn't know you was a chef. Man.
Yeah, no, I mean I've done Bobby Flay, I've done barbecue bras, Bobby Flay, I've done chop, and just bunch of Food Network.
If that show fixed Bobby Flay, he don't lose.
He don't lose. I mean, he's good. He's good though. I think it's somewhat.
I don't watch it.
I watch it, man.
I think it's somewhat fixed at some points, right? Because but what happens is a lot of chefs get nervous, and when you see it, I see it. So if it's 15 minutes to make an entree, and you got to make something that
how do we keep the food warm, man?
I mean, well. It doesn't. It's not warm when they're tasting it. It's not warm.
Okay.
Right. So, because like once you make it, you got to go back in the dressing room, and you got to go through production and the whole thing. So it's an 18-hour day of filming.
Wow.
So
Great.
you get there at 6 a.m. You're not leaving until 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's just it's a long day of production. But it's fun shows, man. Like I said I wouldn't do any more competition shows, just because it's like. I'm like, all right, I'm over that. But, but I still do a lot. I just got back from Charleston Food and Wine Festival where I was down there, kind of participating in that. So,
you were there. I was in Charleston now, man.
I love Charleston, man.
Charleston is
Charleston's
real
pretty
nice.
cool, man.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I like Charleston.
Tell us what you got cooking here in Detroit. What are your?
Yes, I own Coop Detroit, Detroit Shipping Company. Is a Caribbean fusion restaurant, kind of chicken based,
and that's over on Cass
Peterborough.
Peterborough.
Yep. And then I just opened up in Lansing 2 months ago called Irie Smoke Shack. It's a barbecue concept, Caribbean barbecue, kind of like a Korean barbecue kind of deal, but just a Caribbean base.
How's that doing?
Really good, really good. I didn't think Lansing was going to take off and respond well to that, but
it seems like it's.
When elected officials eat a lot of pork,
right?
So pork is the big deal. You should be surprised.
I'm not going to jump in that one. I'm going to let that one ride because I need their business. But
I went to Michigan State and then I worked for the Detroit News and the Lansing Bureau, and I knew. Kind of a limited culinary selection out there. So it seems wide open for someone to come in.
It really is. It really is. Like, I've been going back and forth for the last, 2 months. And just like even when I leave the restaurant and I want to go find something to eat, it's very selective. It's very limited. Yeah, very limited. So, but no, Lansing's been good, man. And then I have Jed's, which is on 7 at Riot Bell, a pizza concept. And then
you got a cigar bar lounge coming.
Yep. Cigar bar is open. It's called Birds. Birds and Rosemary. It's in the North End.
So we're about
So John R. Westminster.
Okay.
Yep. So we're there. We have
near the Boulevard.
Well, closer to Woodward.
Okay.
It's a nice little area. They don't redevelop. That red shoe shine.
Okay.
So right next to Red Shoe Shine.
Like Milwaukee Boulevard.
Correct. Yep. Kind of at that junction right there.
And every Wednesday you
I've been over to Cutter's on Wednesdays doing steak night, and so we do prime rib night over there. So we just have
like a pop up.
Just the crazy part is I literally wanted to figure out where to go get prime rib at, and I was like, well, it's nowhere really.
Mm-hmm.
You go to London Chop House, you can't get it. You go to Prime and Proper, nope. And so I was like, well, let me just create a night where we can kind of do that. We do it at the cigar bar too. We do a steak night there for our members.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went somewhere where I can just kind of just go, and I was like, all right, Chuck, let's make it a thing, and we did. So
let me ask you this: at your establishments here, do you have food for those who don't eat meat?
Absolutely. So at Coop, we have vegetarian options as well. Our spicy cauliflower is like really popular there. Our Brussels sprouts are really popular. And then I partner with Kellogg and did a kind of vegan chicken sandwich. So kind of tofu based. And so we got a few options at the pizza spot. We have, cauliflower pizza as well. Using cauliflower, as the crust. So we have that. So and then we're getting ready to open What's Cracking, which is gonna be on 7 in Illinois, and so a seafood boil concept. So all the seafood lovers that that don't eat meat, you come visit us there. So we'll be open.
Are you part of a restaurant group? I mean, are there a group of investors with you, or?
So I have a Hardy Hospitality group, which is my group. But then we're flying under Happy Hospitality as well for Lansing. So, so it's a team of individuals to kind of make all this happen. I can't do it all on my own, so I still got to travel and be a personal chef and all that good stuff. So
you're doing a whole lot. Personal chef, all these different restaurants. That's traveling.
And what did you bring us?
Right.
Well, before we got to do a little commercial break.
Okay.
And then we're gonna.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. There are payment plans available to help save your property. Visit our website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for further information. We're here to.
Nearly 30,000 vacant lots all over the city of Detroit are for sale right now. That's right. Nearly 30,000 vacant lots are available now, starting at just $100. The lot next to your house or the lot down the street. Make it yours today in just a few simple clicks. Find out if it is available by visiting buildingdetroit.org. At the Detroit Land Bank Authority, side lots are just $100 and neighborhood lots sell for $250. You can apply and pay online today by visiting buildingdetroit.org. And if you don't see the lot you're looking for, call our offices. Our phone number is 313-974-6869. Again, that is 313-974-6869. We have already sold more than 21,000 vacant lots to Detroit homeowners. Make today your turn by visiting buildingdetroit.org.
Well, welcome back. I see Chef Hardy got us some.
We see what the chef is cooking.
Shrimp and grits.
Yes.
All right. Now we're talking. Wow.
I tell you, in South Carolina, that's all they shrimp and grits. It's like, man, they make them 80 different ways. And the barbecue. Too bad I don't eat the meat like I used to.
Right.
Man,
Do you still eat red meat though? Steak
once in a while. Can't eat a lot of it.
Right.
But I'm gonna have to check out the the prime rib Wednesday.
Oh, it's on Wednesdays?
Yeah, it's on Wednesdays at Cutter.
All right. Well.
So,
all right. So,
Chef, you gonna tell us what's in this?
Yeah,
tell us a lot of love.
Okay, it's a lot of love.
Onion, spinach, a little Parmesan in there. Got a little spice to it. The grits are a little
Right.
cream in there, just nice and creamy.
Oh man.
All righty. And is there any trick to cooking shrimp?
Not overcooking it. And then,
What's
I don't know
this?
if y'all want to indulge, but a little rum punch. To
Uh-oh.
go along with it. I don't know what kind of show it was. So I just want to, make sure I cover all bases.
Oh, you
yeah.
got it. You got it.
All right. So you also I know you did you
Jody,
start out in Detroit or
Jody,
Rosedale? In
missed
Rosedale
it.
Park.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. This is delicious.
Yeah, so the first restaurant when I came back to Detroit, I opened in Roselle.
And what was the name of it again?
River Bistro.
Yeah, I remember River Bistro.
Yeah.
And how was that? And Rosedale Park was still developing at the time. It wasn't as developed as it is now. I mean, it used to be very developed, and then it kind of declined, and then it was on sort of a comeback. Were you one of the pioneers there?
I think the pioneer. I mean, what's name was before me, Vegan Soul. They were a year before me, so I think they took the first shot at opening over there.
Uh-huh.
And for me, I wanted to come back, and when I got back, I didn't want to just go right into downtown, midtown, and open up. I kind of wanted to give the community an opportunity to enjoy the same food that we have downtown, Ferndale, Royal Oak, all these opportunity, other places that people think great food is at. And so we gave it a shot. It was a tough and expensive lesson. We lost big.
What happened?
Yeah.
I think, I think that area, and I think just people in general that live in the city of Detroit think of like going to Ferndale, Royal Oak, Farmington to go have good food.
So it's the mindset.
Yeah, I don't think they realize like I can go have a great dinner and
in a
wine and
neighborhood,
dine in my
Detroit
neighborhood.
yeah.
So I think it's vice versa. So if a lot of my clientele was from some of the outside neighborhoods that came in on the weekends, and so it was kind of a swap, and we did well with that. And then they did that street shit where they put the bike lane in,
and they just fucked everything up.
We went from having good days to doing $200 days, and so doing those kind of numbers, you just can't survive. And
what's the challenges of running? I mean, when I think of a restaurant, I think of one, help being an issue, two, keeping the food fresh, knowing how much to buy and how much not to have to throw out. What were you dealing with?
Well, I mean, so just being a chef and just being in the business so long and just running corporate hotels and et cetera, it really wasn't a problem for that. The problem was, just trying to find good quality help here. We don't have a bunch of culinary talent. We don't have a bunch of culinary schools. We have one culinary school, that puts out Schoolcraft.
Yeah.
And they put out 60, 70 students. And so now you have 200 restaurants trying to compete, to grab all the staff. And we just don't have it. And I always say, like,
OCC has a school too as well.
Yeah, they do.
What about the high school, DPS?
And that's Bright Off and Go Lightly. They have programs, and I don't think the programs are strong enough. I think they can be stronger. And so I've helped them and been working and mentoring with them, just trying to kind of help them as well. And then one of my projects, for this year is to kind of create, kind of my own program. So when I first got back, I was working with Horatio Williams Foundation, and we was doing Saturdays in the D, where we taught, culinary students every weekend. And so I want to continue that and kind of nourish the next generation of culinary talent, just because, we've been known as a meat and potatoes of town. Like you went from the factory to now all these restaurants opening, and we went through COVID. So a lot of stuff shut down.
We saw where one of the owners just won the Chop series.
Yeah.
He's opening up another restaurant.
Absolutely. So you have all this emerging talent that's coming to the city doing these restaurants, but where do you pull from, right? So if he's opening another restaurant, and I'm opening another restaurant, we fight for the same.
When are we going to bring back the Taste Fest? What the Taste Fest was a big deal. I went to the Taste Fest in Chicago, one in Colorado. Detroit always had a pretty good Taste Fest, and then it disappeared.
Before COVID, we had the Detroit Free Press had a food and wine festival, which was really nice, but coming back from Charleston Food and Wine Festival, man, and just seeing just what other cities are doing, we should really, piggyback off some of that and just really have some fun with, because we have a food culture here. People, we always knew where to get good food at.
Right.
We didn't know.
Detroit has a lot of good restaurants.
But you didn't. But back in the day, you didn't see like these emerging chefs that you didn't see James Beard Award winning chefs like you have in Detroit now, and guys winning CHOP, and me coming back, and seeing so many other chefs in the city. April won the James Beard Award, and it's just Mabel Gray and all those guys. They're just really big guys that's doing good things in the culinary space. But I think we need to continue, nourishing that and making it make sense.
Before we go on, tell me the spice. There's a little bit of a heat in here.
Yeah.
What kind of spices do you have?
Scotch bonnet, pepper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can feel a little bit. I mean, it's
similar like
good.
a habanero kind of deal.
Okay.
And it's pairs well.
It's good. It's excellent.
The grit's kind of high.
I mean, it's not too hot.
Yeah,
but it has a little heat.
And then the rum punch kind of just
What is the?
clears it out.
Yeah, it does. The rum punch is delicious.
Hey.
Some places can make the greatest grits,
Yeah.
and then other places make them runny or whatever. What's the secret to having some good grits?
Well, I mean, I always like to just make sure, you add a little heavy cream right in, a little heavy cream, a little butter, just right at the end, and then a little Parmesan cheese. Some people like, cheddar. That kind of makes it a little more creamier as well. So, but cooking them nice and slow is the key. Nice and slow, and just kind of can continue to whisking while you're adding the grits into to your water. So, but down in Charleston, they make it with milk. They don't even use water.
What's your signature dish?
I mean, I guess everybody always think I'm, his jerk wings are his thing, but I'm French trained, so I do a lot of that stuff. But my favorite thing to make is Italian food. So,
it's not sushi.
Like what?
It's not sushi.
I love sushi too. But no, Italian is my favorite. I love making oxabuco. So doing like a nice roast oxabuco or nice bronzino is always kind of my fave. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite restaurant? Do you have a favorite Italian restaurant in Metro Detroit?
So low key, I go to Roma's almost every day.
Lord! Are you serious?
What do you get there?
I do the Marcello a lot.
I thought he would say his own restaurant.
A little blue cheese on top. The crazy part is I rarely eat at my restaurant.
Do you eat your food?
I don't. Like I cook this now, I won't eat this now.
How about Giovanni's? You ever go there?
Giovanni's good. Yeah, Giovanni's good. I'm in the market shopping all day, so I think I hit Roma's a lot. Cutter's my other favorite spot. Yeah. So so you catch me in one of those two places.
The catfish bites are good at Cutter's.
Yeah, no, they are. Cutter's always a good time and great food and good people. So it's always a pleasure.
So when are you at Cutter's again?
On Wednesdays, every Wednesday 6 to 10. We're doing that, and
okay.
So yeah, it's a really cool vibe, and just come and have some good dinner. And
so how long will you be there?
I don't know. I mean, we literally just started 4 weeks ago, and we just been having some fun with it.
They have people really receptive.
Yeah, we sold out every Wednesday.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's been fun.
And what is Detroit missing in terms of you go to certain when I lived in DC, I always felt like the Asian food was really good. The Middle Eastern food was so.
Yep.
Indian food was good. I feel like Indian food here, there's not enough good Indian food places. Do you feel like?
Well, definitely Indian for sure. Me being Caribbean, I it's not enough Caribbean spots here.
You like the Caribbean kitchen, man?
They're pretty good,
but they be so packed, and there's a little spot. I drive up and look at it and say, "Not today."
I love their soup. They make good soups over there.
Where is that?
On 7
and Myers.
Somewhere around there.
Yep. Okay. They do a good job, but again, I think
like their cabbage.
Yeah, the cabbage is pretty good too. I think he's just missing some of that.
How about soul food? We feel like there's enough soul food places.
I'll be 100% honest.
No.
Like, where do you go to get soul food?
I don't.
That's good.
Right.
I mean, I think it's hard. I think the only place that I like and I go to is Celebrities.
Where is that at?
That's a bar.
Yeah, but
on the west side.
But they sell more food
Somebody just told me
than
that
anything.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Doing my brother's celebration of life, they were talking about.
Plymouth and
why is it not? Why is it not good soul food places?
Big Mama stopped cooking. You know, like, so you have these, you know, those mom and pop places that used to be able to go get soul food at. I mean, Motor City, you know, you can go.
It's like you go on Woodward, you see that.
I'm sorry.
You see, you go on Woodward and Warren or Forest, where Church's Chicken used to be. It's a chicken tenders place. There used to be a soul food restaurant called Homemaker's Pantry.
Okay.
And it was a woman and her 2 daughters. They made and want to go to breakfast. Breakfast was like, man, you wouldn't have to eat the rest of the day.
I mean, but you got to think too now. You know, the price of restaurants and the price of square footage is pushing a lot of restaurants out, because and a lot of entrepreneurs or people that want to take a chance and do food, and in general, whether it's soul food, whether it be Asian, whatever. You know, to operate a restaurant right now, you know, you're looking at $35, $40 a square foot. You know, to be in a good area. And again, I think people are like saying, hey, I'm leaving my neighborhood and I'm going downtown. And, you know, how you going to do soul food and afford, you know, the rent?
Do you, let me ask you in terms of, depending on your location, do you cater black and white? Do you make a distinction? Sometimes say, oh, this neighborhood is going to want more of this. This isn't going to sell in this neighborhood. Is that something that?
Well, for me, I mean, just going, when I first wanted to figure out just what kind of chef I wanted to be, I always said I would never be a soul food driven chef, because I think once you get that stigma,
that label,
then you're like, okay, I'm that $10 to $15 guy you can call. Me, you can't call me for $10, $15. I'm just it's not that. But I never, I mean, you do your demographic and you do your research of like what will work, you know. And so
I can't pay $40 for a pork chop.
We have.
Well, I mean, if you go over to Mad Nice, which is a new restaurant, which is amazing, you're gonna pay $60 for a chicken. So you better get ready for that.
We have a question from somebody in the audience. They asked, when will the restaurant on Livernois open?
We'll be ready midsummer. We just got our HVAC in this weekend, and so we're making pretty good strides. And so, midsummer, right? Mid-July, we'll be ready.
And it's a dine-in, and what will be the capacity?
30 seats in the dining room, takeout area, and then we have a whole patio and garage doors, and it's kind of.
We don't have no good barbecue downtown. I know people like that slow stuff. I don't. I want to tell you, I want some real barbecue, man.
I keep saying, man, I've been saying I wanted to do a barbecue spot. That's why I did it in Lansing. But if I want to do a old school barbecue spot with a pit that's in the wall, and you walk in and it's smoky everywhere, and just like real old school barbecue like you'll get in Alabama, Georgia.
Is Vicky still good barbecue?
I'm not sure. I know one of the guys just bought it. He's been changing it up a little bit and trying to get it back to the quality that it used to be.
Yeah.
I haven't been over there since. But I know during the pandemic, right at the pandemic, it changed ownership, and so I think they're working on getting it back. I haven't been over there personally, so I don't know.
One last question: there are a lot of people who are now, it seems to be just the thing to do to call themselves chefs, right? When in fact, in my mind, you're just a cook. And I should say just a cook the way I said it, but you're a cook and you do. Could you please tell our audience the difference between a cook and a chef?
So, I mean, this is one of the things that I stand on. I don't say it. I don't talk about it much. And I find that that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter has made everybody chefs.
Yep.
Made everybody famous, made everybody rich. But to your question, just because you cook at Mama House, she said it was good, don't qualify you to be a chef, right? Like, if you didn't put the time in, and I'm not saying so you hadn't necessarily went to school and have credentials, but that plays a big role into it. But if you don't have the time and the effort and the hunger, and do studying and research. Like, you know, I eat, breathe, sleep being a chef. Like, that's all I know, and that's all I do. So, you know, and I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly taking class, I'm constantly doing this, I'm constantly teaching. And so it's just like any profession, like, right? What makes an attorney if you don't, you know, understand just what goes into it and really put the work in. So
going to school now, would you be characterized as, excuse me, a sous chef?
No. So when you get out of culinary school, you know, you just got your culinary degree.
Okay.
You know, but you still got to go be, you know, if you, and I always say this, if you haven't went to school or if you haven't been a sous chef at a hotel, casino, restaurant, wherever, you know, then it steps. You become, you know, cook, line cook, prep cook, sous chef, executive sous, executive chef.
Explain a sous chef a little bit more.
So sous means second in command. So you know, if I'm the executive chef of a hotel, then my sous chef is the second in command. So if I'm off the day, then he's
hold tight with that. We're gonna come back, wrap up this segment. We're gonna take a break. Be right back.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. There are payment plans available to help save your property. Visit our website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for further information. We're here to help.
Homeowner.
I'll have to run it off. We back on
Homeownership opportunities.
Oh, here we go.
Here we are.
We're back.
We back on. We want to thank Chef Hardy for coming on. We're gonna have to have him come on once a month.
Absolutely.
You know.
Not to mention the food was really awesome.
Yes,
The
it
food
was
great.
great. I ate all my food.
And I'm gonna drink
Trying to
all
save a
my
little
punch.
carbs.
I'm gonna drink all my
When I
punch.
get pulled over on the way home. I mean, you've been drinking? I'm like, it's
No.
morning, man.
But we're gonna thank Chef Hardy, and we're gonna have him back on.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, man, that was great.
Yeah.
Well, we
Loosen
got
up.
our next guest. We have on periodically when we was doing a radio show from the state of Florida. He likes to start shit in
He does
West
too.
Palm Beach County.
He does too.
You know, he's running for office. He's running for a county commissioner. Attorney Richard
In
Ryles.
Palm Beach County?
Yes, Richard Ryles. Hello.
Hey, how are you all doing today?
Good.
I know, man.
Hey.
Hey, man, why you got to be outside, man, and it look like it's 80 degrees and that kind of shit.
It's 83, man.
But anyway, how you been?
Good. You know, still trying to fight the good fight.
Well, you know, your NAACP say don't come to Florida.
Well, I think that they're on to something. We got to do something because we are in a dogfight here in the state of Florida. They just passed a bunch of bills and laws changing the ability to file lawsuits, pretty much killing my industry as a personal injury lawyer. And it's just not a good place to be right now.
Yeah, you know, the only way you're going to force change is to take money out of their pockets.
Right.
And what about the athletes that play in Miami and all these other places, the Super Bowl, the Orange Bowl, all kind of bowls?
Well, Mongo, to be quite frank with you, the infrastructure for resistance in the state of Florida is limited or even in some respects non-existent. And so the NAACP calling for a boycott, import of that really is resonating with the majority of our citizens. The Republicans have had control of the governor's mansion, the House, and the Senate for the last 21 years. And we are really like an abused child with no real way to fight back. And
Richard, what's your reaction there about the at Disney hosting the big LGBTQT? It was a conference or what? Where there's going to be what's your reaction there in Florida?
I think it's performative, and in terms of us, it beginning the start of change, perhaps. But I think you can hear it in my voice. I'm demoralized because we don't have the normal institutions in place, the Urban League, a functioning NAACP in the state of Florida to fight back.
How come?
Apathy. I tell everybody the fight for freedom is not static; it's perpetual. And unfortunately, once Jim Crow ended, we got a couple of rights. We got a whole bunch of people in leadership who are, I got mine, you get yours.
Right.
They aren't like the great painting that Gilbert Young did of He Ain't Heavy. How the man is reaching over the wall to help the hand and try to bring him up, they slapping the hand away. And so we do have some responsibility for the condition we find ourselves in now. And they have capitalized on the fact that we don't have institutions.
So
Richard,
go ahead.
Richard, I read an article earlier in the week about the turmoil that they're having with the education, in particularly teaching history, Black history. And there was a textbook that left out the history, left out the fact that Rosa Parks is a Black woman, the reason for her sitting on the bus, etc. And so the article went in depth and talked about how the law, the legislation is not very clear. So it's caused all this confusion as to what these educators can teach and what can be in the textbooks. What is your take on it?
My take on all of this is DeSantis has figured out the secret sauce to mobilize the Trump voters and to attract them to his presidential campaign. Most of this stuff, if you were to take it into a court of law, because the statute that they are using in order to restrict teachers and what they teach runs directly in contravention to a long-standing Florida statute that requires the teaching of Black history in our schools. But what's worse is in Florida, over 64% of the school-age children are Black and brown. Only 34 or 35% are white. And so they are having an outsized influence over our school district that is not in proportion to their numbers. And so it really is in our instance here in Florida where the minority is controlled the majority.
Yeah, you're running for a county commissioner. What when you get elected? How are you going to tackle those kind of situations?
Well, I think that the best way I can assist my constituents is getting them organized, getting them mobilized, and creating an infrastructure for us to be able to protect and fight for the rights that we're losing daily.
Okay. Richard, last quick. Do the Democrats give up on Florida? Is the tide going too quickly toward the Republicans and DeSantis there, or is there still a chance that at some point we'll see a reversal?
That's giving up on. We don't have an infrastructure. If you go to most of the Democratic clubs in Palm Beach, in the large counties within the state, they don't even have social media presence. We are at the bottom basement in organization and infrastructure to be able to put forward any kind of oppositional campaign. And so I think that 8,000 Republicans are moving to the state of Florida every day. This is the happy place for Republicans. And unfortunately, we aren't doing much to change that.
Right. Well, and DeSantis has been going down. We actually have a clip, Joe. We have the SNL little thing here. We want to just play this real quick.
Republican insiders are concerned that the rivalry between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis could lead to a civil war within the party, which is perfect because they already have the flags.
What do you make of that whole race right now between DeSantis and Trump? Where do you see it going?
I don't know if DeSantis can withstand Trump's attacks. He is not a person that is quick on his feet. Trump has his loyal base. They are shaken. In fact, I'm less than 3 miles from Mar-a-Lago right now. When I drove by, maybe 200 people out there with support MAGA flags, standing a vigil for.
Man, you living in a snake pit, man. I'm gonna tell you. There's no question. You know what? We're gonna bring. Go ahead.
I want to ask you one last question. I know you're running for office, and I'm asking this question just to be clear. Are you running as a Dem, an independent, or a Republican?
But I do it grudgingly. I do it grudgingly.
Well, I'm Democrat.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, anyway, thank you, Richard.
Thanks a lot.
We're gonna have you back on, man, and good luck, man. I'm gonna call you because I got some folks that want to come down there. I told them I can't go to Florida because I'm boycotting that.
All right. Take care now.
Okay. Right. Thanks, Richard.
Speaking of like party ambivalence or whatever, we were talking a little bit earlier before the show started about Kwame appearing at a conservative conference in South Carolina this week, being the only speaker. How do you and then
he owed Trump. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, and here's the story why he's doing what he's doing. When I worked for Coleman Young and I left the administration, there was only one person reached out to me named Art Blackwell, who said, "Hey man, I hear you left and stuff. I think I may have some work for you, contract, whatever. I appreciate it." So I got my little stuff together. Fast forward, when Coleman Young decided not to run, Art decided he was running for mayor. But I didn't think Art could win. But Art asked me, I owed him one. And I went and he's not gonna win. I said, don't matter. Whether he's gonna win, I'm gonna work. You never know. So Kwame Kilpatrick, he owed these folks.
Absolutely.
He owed. And he's gonna be their face. He's gonna be their poster child. He's gonna be their poster child. He feel betrayed by Granholm and all these folks that dumped on him, Duggan and all that, even though Duggan.
No, he and Duggan are good.
They good, but they ain't great. They come from the same room. That McNamara shit. So yeah, I'm not surprised, but he gonna get some slap back.
And when if he starts campaigning for Trump in Michigan, I don't think people in the city particularly.
I think he's smarter than that. I don't think he will. I don't think he would campaign for Trump. I think he's smarter than that.
Do you?
I think I do. I agree with you.
You think he would go and lie on the stand and go to court?
I think what.
Well, wait a minute.
He may not appear in Detroit at a rally,
and that's what you're right.
In Warren. Or some of the strongholds that Trump
maybe Mount Clemens or something like that. Maybe something like that. But yeah, you're right. I don't think he would come to Detroit or anything like that and do anything.
But I think in Detroit, I think he's going to catch hell for if he starts. And people understand why he's doing it, but I don't think it'll matter though. I don't think they're going to cut him any slack.
But anyway, we come to this point where your final thought.
Well,
Vanessa, shit starter, beating up on Tucker Jr.
Tucker Jr. Oh, you called him Tucker Jr.
That was a great day.
He got so mad, but he does, and I'm sure he'll probably talk about it on No BS. But it ain't personal. It really isn't. But I want everybody to have a wonderful week that starts tomorrow. Enjoy Detroit. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to Detroit in Black and White. Like, share, and subscribe. Looking forward to a great Facebook. You do all that stuff. YouTube, Twitter, all of that.
MySpace.
And we didn't take calls today, but we'll take calls next. Right?
We trying to listen. Pony Express.
We did get a chance to talk about a couple of things, but next week I'm sure we'll be able to talk about those things that we've talked about.
Right, and those who use pigeons to carry messages.
Right.
We want you to
Anyway, you can see us. It doesn't matter.
Alan,
I'm going to say something. I know this is sort of going back a little bit to I know everyone, about the pandemic and stuff like that. But, I looked up the numbers the other day. There's still about, give or take, 60 people dying a week in Michigan. There's confirmed cases, like 5,500 cases a week, which means with everyone who's got the home test, it means there's probably 20,000 a week here in Michigan. And what I want to, the point I'm going to make is that you can go to a drugstore, CVS, Walgreens, whatever. You can get up to 8 free tests for free. They put it on your insurance. And the thing is, if you have a cold, if you have a sore throat, if you have a fever, and you're going to go out, you're still going to go out, test yourself for COVID. It takes minutes. And, if you've got COVID, you're going to spread it around. Nobody wants it.
Okay,
thank you, Doug. Right. That was going
to. Anyway, my final thoughts. I want to thank Richard Ryles, Charlie LeDuff, and Chef Max Hardy.
The food was awesome.
Yeah, the food was really good. It was really good.
Got a very cool presence here.
Right.
The food was great. But I want to say, you know what? There's another day, another dollar, and I want to say to Warren Evans, stop blaming the state government. We're gonna talk about it.
We're gonna talk about what's going on over there on
juvenile facility.
It's crazy.
We stop blaming it.
The governor,
Mayor Duggan, tear down the church. Mr.
Garbage Chat, tear down that wall.
And we need to talk about that too. But anyway, I want to say thank you.
Oh, we're gonna talk about the land bank too, and the misinformation.
We got Tammy Daniels coming on next week.
Okay,
director of land bank, and I want to say we'll be back next week at 10. Detroit in Black and White podcast. You can, with no holds barred.
Right, and I'll be starting shit next week too for all of you.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you.